There's nothing like the final rounds of a high-tech Super Series event to get temperatures rising in the world of pro squash. And here in the Egyptian resort of Hurghada on the Red Sea, they're positively soaring as we prepare for the final of the $60,000 Ahram PSA Masters. No one's had much time to soak up the sun here in Hurghada though, least of all these four guys. Current world number 3, David Palmer of Australia, came up against Simon Park of England, while Ong Ben Hee maintained his meteoric rise to the top with a clash against new world number 1, Jonathon of Canada. A currently on form Palmer justified his new number 3 ranking with a straightforward 3-game win over Park, who despite his speed was hard pushed to counter the Australian's massive reach. Second seed Jonathon Power mesmerised the Egyptian crowd with his racket skills as he fought off an impressive challenge from 21-year-old Ong Ben Hee, the Malaysian ex-junior world champion, keeping the Canadian number 1 on court longer than any other player. Smiles all round then for Jonathon Power and the temporarily humbled Ong Ben Hee. But based on what we've seen so far here in Egypt, if anyone's likely to wipe that smile off the Canadian's freshly competent face, then it's David Palmer. He's done it before. Back at last year's British Open, he provided the biggest upset by knocking Jonathon Power out in the quarters, but the Canadian got his revenge when they met once again in November's Capital Classic in Toronto. Here, Stephen Meads of England fell in round 1, Finland's Olli Tuominen in round 2, Peter Nichols humbled in the quarters, and England's Simon Park bit Palmer's dust in the semis. So the obvious question, can he win again?
Yeah, well, that's the goal. But yeah, I just play my game, not try to let him play his sort of tactics. Try to play my tactics as good as possible, and if I do that, I've done it in the past before and it's been successful. So if I can do that tonight, then hopefully it will go well.
Putting the stops on this guy is probably the tallest order in squash today. Jonathon Power spent the last couple of months training hard and fast in Europe, and here in Hurghada we've witnessed the stunning results. Amar Shabana and John White fell early, England's Del Harris went down in the quarters, and Ong Ben Hee lasted 52 minutes in an entertaining semi. So can Power keep up the momentum?
Yeah, I feel confident. I've been playing well all week, and yeah, I think if my game's there, I've got a really good chance. But again, Dave's it's a perfect court for him, and he's playing really well this week, taking out some really good opponents. And I have lost to him once this year. I've beaten him a number of times, but I have lost to him once this year, so he knows he has got it in him. He's capable of getting a win, so I've got to be cautious.
He's still just 24, but this is Palmer's 13th PSA Tour final, so Jonathon Power has every right to be wary of the Australian. But as we've seen, Power seems to be at the height of his game, and that's a faster game than most. It's a difficult one to predict, but we're guaranteed a thriller. Over now for the highlights of that match to Robert Edwards and former world number 2, Chris Robertson.
The final of this PSA Masters here in Hurghada on the Red Sea. And Jonathon Power in the all black versus David Palmer in the white top. Australia for David Palmer and Canada for Jonathon Power, and it promises to be a clash of the two in-form players as far as this tournament's concerned. And I look forward to it with great relish, Robert.
Well, Palmer has beaten John Power in the British Open last year. Big upset at the time, but since that day, the big Australian's gone on to a lot of success, a lot of consistency, and he just knocked off the world number 3 Simon Park 3-love in the semi-final, so his form not too bad.
And we have enough pressures putting on a final day in any case, but a little extra pressure this time. The whole tournament has had security multiplied by about 10, because we're delighted to have with us in the audience the First Lady of Egypt, Mrs. Mubarak, wife of the President Mubarak. And she's arrived to view this final day with an entourage that includes 4 of the Ministers of State. So I hope the boys feed up a great final for our illustrious audience today.
Well, David Palmer said he stalled out, hasn't he, Robert? With lots of length and nothing better than that cross court, which caught the nick. Very, very steady start. Very, very powerful player into the corners. Picked up a lot of John Power's good balls there quite easily. And he's telling the Canadian that I'm going to be here for a while and you're going to have to play well, which is very, very nice to see.
And the last time I think they met would have been possibly the British, when David was victorious, so he has every reason to believe in himself. But this week, Jonathon Power has looked in fine form, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to put that record straight. So something's got to give here.
Well, I think the case of the game is going to be, Robert, is how tight and how controlled Palmer can keep Power. And if that is the case, then John Power's got to stay patient and just pick and choose the opportunities.
I'm impressed with the way David Palmer's playing these opening rallies. He's come out of the blocks like a man possessed, playing really tight, good squash.
And these are the type of rallies he doesn't want to get into.
A stroke.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get into them, Robert. He doesn't want to give Power the chance to get on the ball quickly, to use that quick racket work. He needs to keep the ball away from him. He needs to keep the tempo down. Very much what he did to Simon Park, I suppose, in the semi-final. He did win that match very, very comfortably, I thought.
Yes, David Palmer of today is definitely moved up a gear. He's a genuine tournament contender now at any level. And I'm sure Jonathon Power's aware of that, and he'll pay him the due respect in competing for this final.
Oh, good athleticism there from Palmer. Difficult ball, picked it up well. Both players using the lob quite well here at the moment. Just trying to slow things down when they get into a bit of difficulty.
It's a very warm night here, of course, this being played outdoors on the island, just off the Marriott Hotel. About 200 yards out to sea. And a little humidity, which will, by now I'm sure the players are used to, but always makes things a little bit more difficult. Little lack of oxygen out there.
Well, squash is traditionally such an indoor game. They must surely enjoy playing outside. Here we get a bit of exasperation there from Power. Just letting the referee know that I thought that was a bit ridiculous, mate. Again, the tempo very much up and down the lines. Both players just trying to use the short ball straight. A lot of angles getting played at the moment. And that's a good way to start any final up for any young aspiring player. You want to get your game in order first before you start doing too many of those fancy shots.
Both these big men, both 6+. Sorry, don't know what that is in meters, but I can tell you now, tallish.
5-2.
Just a little situation there where Jonathon tried to make something happen which wasn't on. Lack of patience, and that type of shot will give Palmer a lot of strength, but dear, he lost that one. Didn't have the side screen up there too well. Didn't pick up the line of that ball.
And that's 3-5 in the first. And David Palmer, of course, having got you via Peter Nichols, seeded 1 for this tournament in the quarters, and then the world number 3, Simon Park, who he beat in the semis.
Well, it's an interesting point as well. How many players have actually beaten John Power and Peter Nichol in the recent era? This guy has. I don't know how many players actually have done that.
Oh, unbelievable dive there from Power. That's how much he wants these points. Don't be put off by this casual laid-back attitude. He's a desperate winner.
Good backhand drop again. Easily picked it up. Couldn't get up there in enough time.
Little pressure he puts there on Nasser Zaran, who's referee in this, an Egyptian referee, very good one, international referee for WSF. Jonathon just lets him know a couple of vocals.
And the backhand drop that Palmer hit, that was a shot that gives Simon Park a lot of problems in the semi-final, and interesting to see if the Canadian realises that and stands up the court a bit more next time.
As much delay as possible there before playing the trickle boast.
6-3.
And that's 6-3, first game.
Well, if we thought Palmer was going to be overawed by the situation, we got that horribly wrong. He really does look very composed at the moment. He's got the tempo where he wants it. I'm sure John Parra's not going to allow this to continue if he's not winning his fair share of points. We might see a bit more of that stepping in, trying to increase the pace. Use the volley a little bit more. There we see another one.
And that one's into the 10. David fairly rattles that into the front wall. Combining lovely pace, touch, and power together.
Jonathon Parra's fitness starting to tell even in this first game. We'll be back with more after the break and back with our viewers competition in which you have the chance to win your own pair of pro squash shoes. So make sure you join us then.
We welcome our viewers back, and it's still in the first game with Jonathon Power. 9 up against David Palmer of Australia. And there really is just a wafer-thin piece of paper between these two at the moment. David has really set his stall out. He has come to compete. Let ball.
I don't see that very often. Jonathon Power agreeing with the referee. It wasn't a stroke. He had his racket on the wrong side to hit it. And he seems quite relaxed there, Robert.
Nice to see him smile. I think this Jonathon Power we've seen at this tournament is a winning Jonathon Power. Very relaxed around the pool, enjoying himself, just doing the basics, doing his training, preparing himself, eating at the right times.
Well, Robert, he hasn't dropped a game yet,
Yes.
so it's actually quite easy to be very relaxed when you're not losing any squash games. I would like to see his demeanour if David Palmer could take this first game, then we'd see just how relaxed he is.
For sure, and David Palmer, I'm convinced, believes he can do it. He truly believes in himself, this young man.
Well, he's kept the tempo down again, as he did against Simon Park. He's asking Jonathon Power to hit the shot. He couldn't do it then, and even if he'd hit that up, Robert, I think Palmer would have been there quite easily to pick it up and do whatever with the ball.
And David, who resides in Belgium, is now coached by the next professional player on the tour, Sean Moxon, another Aussie. Originally, I think, coached by a very controversial man, but some speak very, very highly of, Joe Shaw of Australia. But whatever they're doing with the man, he's now the #1 ranked Australian player, and that's something very special because they've had a history of great names. The Ditmars, the Rodney Martins, the, if I may say so, Chris Robertsons. So he follows in a great tradition.
Yes, and Paul Price is quickly following up behind him as well, so I'm not sure he's going to have that position forever, but he's making a very good account of himself here. He really does set his stall out well. He's making Jonathon Power play every ball. He's not giving any free shots away. And in big finals, that's really a very good way to start the first game off.
Yes, today is the biggest day in the sporting life of Dave Palmer. From a tiny little place called Lithgow, I think in New South Wales. A mine in town. Could have been a miner if he hadn't taken up squash. I'm glad for our game he chose to pick up the racket.
And there we see such a beautiful cross-court drive there with a little bit of deception. Not many players can play it like that. Just a little bit concerned for Palmer though, Robert. If he doesn't win this first game, He's going to have to step into the ball a little bit more. He is hitting good length and good width.
Now,
A little bit of
David,
frustration here.
I'm not sure if this is really a slippery problem or whether it's just I need a second to reassess myself. Whatever, they're taking the moisture off the court. Some of this, of course, is the sweat from the players. It could be, I don't think the court is picking up humidity, that's for sure. And there, Nasser Zaran on the left.
By the beach in the wind, he looks like he needs a pina colada or something like that. Reference a squash match.
It is a balmy night, but there's a wind has got up, and of course our VIPs in the front row there.
Well, he might need the court wipe, but I'm not sure one yellow towel from one individual is going to do the job.
Nice to see Mrs. Mubarak there enjoying a squash. Her husband, the President Mubarak, is himself a player. Wonderful setting. Magical, magical place to have a squash tournament.
Well, 12-9, lost the last 3 points in a row. Talking levels going up, agitation levels going up.
David, of course, is trying to say to the referee that he's looking for it, pushing his racket out there, looking for the strokes.
Well, I think Jonathon Power was looking for it, Robert, but it was a stroke. The ball was through the middle of the court. It was a poor squash shot. In this day and age, you're going to get penalised for that. Just seeing the tempo's gone up a little bit now. Power's smelling the blood. He's got a few more volleys going now. Control volleys as well.
And although the wind has got up, it's not really affecting the players on the court.
And that's a clear sign. He's lost his way here.
First time we've seen this in David Palmer all week. Little frustration. But if somebody can frustrate you, it has to be Jonathon Power.
Oh, no, that was very harsh. He will get a good look at this. Judge for yourself. Was he in the way there when hit the ball? I don't think so. No, he's lost the plot a bit, the ref there.
And the end of this game is going quickly now, and it's all Jonathon Power. David really has to put the blocks on him, and that's another stroke. And that's the first game.
Wow, what a sad end. 9-all. Things are looking good, but really did lose control of the ball badly there towards the end.
Jonathon taking a rest. We'll be pleased with that. Taking the first game in the final. And Mrs. Mubarak gracing us with her presence. And this second game of the final of the PSA Masters has really been almost a reenactment of the first. It's been very tight between the two players, and at the moment it's 7-6 to Dave Palmer. Nothing in it, but that's much too tight. It's got to be a stroke, and that'll be 7-all.
Nice to see him on the volley though, Robert, trying to hold the middle a little bit more, keep John Power behind him, force him into some shots from deep. Got the feeling that Power's quite happy with his pace up until an initial stage, and then he'll just seize a couple of opportunities and take the game away. I do think that Palmer might have to be a little bit more aggressive in this game.
It was lovely this week speaking to Jonathon, who's always been referred to as the John McEnroe of the squash tour. And as he mentioned to somebody, no, John McEnroe is the Jonathon Power of tennis. I like that. He's a man, no matter what game he'd played, he'd always have a presence, John Power. Special personality and a lovely talent. But he's in trouble here. Manages to hunt it down. And this is good squash from Palmer.
Does lift the ball so well out of those front corners, big Australian.
Now the two players having a little chat. Of course, where the players have contact like that, they would normally play a let. Jonathon looking to David to justify the let.
Well, it's a bit of a Kokum lead, isn't it, really? Because he was in a negative situation there, John Power. He knew he was in a little bit of trouble.
Ball was down. Ball was down.
David really saw this different to Nasser.
Well, both
And
players are adamant, aren't they?
Why do you have to wait for him to call it down? Or he told you to do everything. You didn't call down. Why didn't you call down?
Carry on, please, and stop
You did not call down.
No comments anymore from you.
well, David a little frustrated here, seemed to be saying to Nasser Zaran that Jonathan's working him and controlling the referee. Don't think that's really the case. I'm sure Nasser's too experienced for that. But
Well, yeah, I agree with you, Robert. There's no way that Nasser would be influenced by anybody. Very much his own person. Excellent referee.
I think there's just some frustration.
And here we see the tempo pick up. Both players a little bit aggrieved.
Yes.
This is better from Palmer, though, Robert. This is the type of squash I think he's got to start playing now. He's 1-love, 9-7 down. Writing is appearing on the wall. He needs to change it.
Yes, leg.
Little physical contact. The hands are going up. I love this left hand juice of, I don't know what it always means, but it's a language in itself. And back to the fray. Both players fighting for this tee.
Oh, good stretch there from Palmer. Very athletic. A lot of power in those quads.
He's a man who puts a lot of effort in at a season as well. Has a tank of energy. Good trainer, David. Jonathon, well, really, as much as I go on about his great skills and his talents, it would be remiss of me not to say that he is not probably recognized as the greatest trainer in the world, although he has looked very thin and very fit this tournament.
Yeah, he does look quite fit, and I also think this non-training image that he tries to portray, Robert, I think he uses that quite a bit. He overplays it. I think it gives him an edge when he comes in against opponents because they try to work him. They give him opportunities to open the court up. And
Yes, net.
again, the game very scrappy though, isn't it? Through the middle. I mean, Palmer should be a little bit more concerned of why he's hitting the ball through the middle, Robert, I think. You know, the referee
That's right.
is doing a pretty solid job. The ball's not meant to go through the middle of the court. It's supposed to go wide and down the lines, and if he doesn't start working out why he can't hit it tight.
Well, Jonathan's got a strong personality, and David is beginning to convince himself that it's affecting the referee. But again, that hand up.
Here is nothing.
When he hit the ball, he pushed me the other way.
Well, quite understandably, the tension rises. We'll resume the action after the break, but for now, it's time for our viewers' competition and your chance to win a pair of high-tech Adrenaline Pro squash shoes. If you can answer this simple question: who won the 2000 Hurghada PSA Masters? Was it A, Jonathon Power, B, Peter Nicol, or C, David Palmer? Send your answer by mail to High Tech Super Series Competition, PSA, 82 Cathedral Road, Cardiff, UK, or enter on the website at www.superseries.co.uk. Those details again and the rest of the final after the break.
Well, the score is 10-7 as we welcome viewers back to this final, and it's the second game. Jonathon Power having won the first, 15-9, and not a classic match. A little bit of bumping and boring, and here an example. I don't know if that's an over-dramatization there by David Palmer, but
How do I get through? It's a stroke.
That's a good call there from the referee. Too much of this simple soft lets.
No let.
He's saying he's got to go to the ball more. It's about time, Robert. This is why we're punctuated with so many soft, inane lets. People clapping. I don't think we can get a replay of this, but the ball was tightish. Power takes a different line.
Carry on, please.
Jonathan's gone over to have a chat. Well, certainly the First Lady is highly amused.
And this is what the referee's task is. He can clean the game up, give some no-lets, make the players go through and play the ball.
Now again, players getting caught up in the middle, but this time no complaints from them. There, that funny foot movement that David has developed over the years.
You might find a few more players doing it, Robert.
Well, it works for him. That was a great length from Jonathon, really buried him in the back corner. And that's 11-9.
We've lost all the continuity though, Robert, haven't we? We've lost all the rallies of substance. Really is stop-start. A couple of nice hit and holds there from Power. He realises that the game's got dragged down a little bit.
I think that hasn't helped David Palmer. I think he's somebody who needs to be on a railroad and pumping forward. This stop-start and breaking it up hasn't helped him at all. I always feel with Jonathon, he's got this ability to stop, come again, and change pace, etc. But for David, it hasn't really worked.
Well, I think physically that helps Power quite a bit as well, Robert. Just pushed the shot there, but Palmer obviously a bit fitter and stronger, would like the game to be a little bit more physical than it is at the moment.
He's back to 10-12. Both players now in double figures, and David really needs a couple of big points here if he's going to come back. He can't let Jonathon Power go 2-love up in this final, because he would have a monumental task to come back then. And Jonathon is hungry. He hasn't won a major this year. Lost in the final of New York. And there, Mr. Mubarak's son, sitting next to the governor of the Red Sea. Gentleman who's hosted us so admirably this year and last. Makes a big fuss of all the players when they come down. And very much a beloved man here in this area.
Well, 11-13, he's still in this second game. I don't really know how. It's been one of those games that the points have just trickled along. Squash hasn't been of the highest order at this present stage, but Palmer won't care too much about that, Robert, if he can squeeze himself up to 13 all.
He needs to find some tight squash. He needs to find some...
Well, here we see it again. Really such a soft left. The ball is miles and miles away. I don't understand why that is a let.
And that one was tight to the wall.
Well, it was, Robert, but dear, oh dear, the ball went in the floor. 12-13 now. All of a sudden, Power looks a little bit more serious.
You can see by Jonathon's hair that the wind has got out. We're just off, a little bit off the coast at sea here, so the wind has got up. I think it's more of a problem for the spectators than it is for the two players. In fact, they might welcome the breeze. Stays 12-13. Mrs. Mubarak.
She's doing well to stay
Enjoying
so
this.
patient, Robert. I think if she doesn't know a lot about squash, this might it's probably not the best advertisement for her at this present stage.
Well, I know her husband plays a lot. Actually plays a lot with Ahmed Barada, the Egyptian #1 player who sadly is not playing here because of injury to his back in a training session. We wish him well. Hope he comes back soon.
Oh, big shot. He took it on. Had an opening. Now he gives Jonathon Power game ball.
And if Jonathon should take this, I think David Palmer is in big trouble. And again, they get caught up in the middle, these two big men. Stays 14-12, game ball. Now they're both going to have a little chat to the referee.
Wow, it's like that Greco-Roman wrestling at the moment. It really is grappling with each other around the middle. I think the referee has to take a bit of responsibility for this now, Robert, and he really could have cleaned this up. A few no-lets, get some players actually working around each other to go and play the ball.
I remember when these two players played in the British Open last year, there was a huge clash on court, and Jonathon really did get flattened, almost fusilated into the floor by David. Neither player, of course, takes prisoners in their own particular way.
Well, fossilated doesn't sound very nice anyway. I assume he was hurt by that, but that's a nice tight ball there from Palmer. Squeezing shot. He's trying to hang in there. 13-14, he's got a chance.
Well, he needs this point now, of course, because it stays as game ball to Jonathon Power. It's 13-14. David Palmer's going to be looking for a little bit of inspiration. Oh, goes for it, misses it, kicks the ball away with frustration. And it's Jonathon Power who leaves the court, and he's 2-love up in this final. Jonathon now sits back, reassesses himself, but he must be happy. It hasn't been a classic match to date, but he's 2-love up, and that's what's most important to him. Waits for silence from the crowd, and at 2-love up, Jonathon Power begins this third game of the PSA Masters.
And please, let's have some different tactics from both players here now. Particularly Palmer needs to change. Robert, he needs to be a bit more aggressive. He needs to stop playing the ball up and down the channel so much because he's getting caught a lot in these dead let situations. It's about time as well. Get both players some no lets. Let's get a bit of continuity going here.
There on the right, the governor of the Red Sea, and Mr. President Mubarak's son on the left. Both intently enjoying the squash. Some of the best crowds in the world watch squash here, one of the most knowledgeable as well. They love it. Second to only soccer, or football as it's called in some countries here in Egypt.
Another no-let, Robert. That's 2 rallies, 2 no-lets. I think Nasser has worked out that he doesn't want to see all those little L's on his score sheet again.
Well, he's certainly being positive now.
All right, 3 no-lets in a row. He gets a fluffy toy. He should play it. Good decision.
No, you don't know where the ball. You should play. No, let it hit my racket. Please go in place and carry on.
Well, if he knew where it went, I think he should hit it.
I think Jonathon did try to go to catch the ball on the racket, but as Nasser is saying to him, you should have played it. That's the difference there, the contention. And this third game has really opened up with some broken play.
Yeah, but the referee is a little bit too late, though. He is trying to clean the game up now, and maybe we'll get some rallies which will encompass the full court, not just the back corners.
And once again, they're dancing in the middle.
It really is ugly. Both players have got to accept some responsibility to go and get this squash ball. I can understand if you didn't want to go and get it, Robert, because you might get a bit tired, but these two guys are supposed to be fit and healthy.
It's a long way for my age to get down the front there.
You know, they're both playing the ball very straight, which tends to mean there's going to be some crossing over.
Great recovery there from Jonathon, making up a shot to pick the ball up from the back wall. And again, broken play.
Well, just searching for something at the back. Probably not his strong point, hitting the ball short from the back. Does need to play a little bit more in front of Power.
Good camera shot there, shows effort the players have to make to get right down to the front. How elastic they are to bend, to be able to play with such power and finesse. But not there. That wasn't finesse. David tried to pull it across court and much too low. Jonathon seems to now be in a bit of a hurry all of a sudden.
Well, the game's cleaned up quite a bit, hasn't it? It suits Power. You'll get some angles to play off. He'll enjoy the open spaces, particularly as Palmer's struggling a little bit with the shape of his game at the moment. A couple of mistakes.
3-4 now, David Palmer serving on this point, but the rallies have lessened and they're all full of incident. Here another situation, taking Jonathon into the side wall.
Well,
Jonathon complaining of whiplash.
He's made a straw then, is he? Because it wasn't much of a push.
Jonathon amused by it, and I think this breaking up of the game all the time is having much more of an adverse effect on David Palmer than it is on Jonathon Power.
Oh, very much so. He's been very agitated by this situation, these tactics. And then you also got the clinical finishing of Power. Body language is really struggling here.
feel Dave Palmer wants to fight, but like a boxer who's being jabbed all the time, he's not been able to get in there to mix it up.
Well, I don't think this will go down as a classic, Robert. I'm not sure whether it's going to get much better. Sincerely hope it does, but...
Already the star of the night, of course, has been, I suppose, Mrs. Mubarak, under whose auspices this tournament's being played. President wife, much loved here in Egypt, does a great deal of work for the children, for charities, very active.
And there we saw the Jonathon Power slice forehand volley. Really does take the legs out from underneath the ball. Hits it in so softly, tight, early. It really is a trademark shot.
Very early call for a lap there, and it's denied.
It's another good call. It's too early a call. There's no interference. He actually played the ball.
Now, I'm not sure who Jonathan's talking to now, whether it's himself or David. David's certainly not going to talk to him.
Well, there's a lot at stake, but in the meantime, we'll leave them to argue the toss over that one. More coming soon, but first, let's remind you of our viewers' competition. Answer this question, and you could win your own pair of pro squash shoes. Entry details after the break.
David Palmer serve in here. It's 6-5 to Jonathon Power. Just hoping now that the game will produce some magic. Two tremendous players.
Well, it has opened up a bit, Robert, hasn't it? The last 5 minutes or so. They're a lucky nick down the line. But it's been one of those situations where Jonathon Power was happy for it to continue along this line because he was winning. I think David Palmer was a little bit frustrated, didn't know how to change it. Oh, that's better. Nice early volley across the court.
But then back into each other. Again, the holding on the back.
You know, bit of responsibility there from Palmer though, Robert. I mean, he played the ball in, he stepped back into Power's line. If he knew he was on the cross-court side of him, he should have stayed a little bit straighter, given him free access. So, I mean, he's got to take some responsibility.
Jonathan's certainly full of smiles. I suppose maybe it's because it's not his back that's being held. But come on, gentlemen, let's play some good squash.
Oh, this is better.
Enthrall the crowd, and I think they're listening.
Oh, this is much better. There is four corners to this court. I thought there was. That was much better from both players.
David did what he does so well there. Now, can he clear his head? 7-all. They're locked in this third game. It has so much potential to be a great match. The chemistry hasn't happened, but of course, just the fact that they're playing for such a big title adds extra impetus to everything that's being done out there. So let's see now if David Palmer can find a change of game, and again they're dancing. Stay 7-all. Jonathon gives a little point to the crowd, and David again bounces his shoes in his characteristic way, and we're back off. Whoever wins this, of course, it will be a new champion, because in its inaugural year, Peter Nicol won it, and he's already gone out in the quarters to David Palmer, so we'll be looking at a new champion here, regardless of who lifts the cup at the end of this. And it's starting to look, Robbo, as though it's going to be the Canadian #1, Jonathon Power.
Well, not a good sign there from Palmer. Bit of the Gary guess there. Educated, it was not. And that is the type of sign that Power would absolutely love to see.
That's down. It might be stop-start, but it's Power who's picking up the points and edging his way towards victory. I know it's not over, but it's probably a appropriate to say that for Dave Palmer, it's been a great tournament up till now, reaching this final highlight of his career.
Again, some more contact again. Palmer standing a little bit too wide there, giving Power a chance to have some collision. Oh, what a beautiful forehand drop.
Nobody in the world does that like Jonathon. That was a Power special. Let's have a little bit more of that top spin from there from David Palmer on the backhand. Surprised at how much that has come into the game nowadays, Rob, with this top spin from players. Alex Goff is another great exponent of it. That's 11-7 to Jonathon Power, leading, of course, by 2 games to love. He's got one hand on the trophy.
Yeah, Palmer's lost the plot now, just throwing the ball forward. Power's leaping on it, holding it. Yeah, just going back to the top spin, Robert. It's just a way of whipping the racket across the ball quite quickly. It's also quite handy when you're stretching for a ball. It's difficult to get the face open. Palmer's finally got a point back. Really has lost his way, as he did in the first game when he got to 9-all. And I think the stop-start tactics proved to be the downfall to him in the end. He didn't get any continuity going. He didn't get any rhythm in his swing. And we all know that Power will handle that situation much better than anybody else on the circuit. He likes the confrontation. He likes the collisions. Enjoys the banter with the referee.
He's a colourful character, I know. I often refer to him when he appears, it's like Pandora's box. You just don't know what's going to come out. And I suppose that's what makes Jonathon what he is. He's a special guy, special talent. We're very pleased that he plays our game. Can frustrate, can annoy, but he always entertains.
He's got another decent rally. Again, both players showing what they're capable of. 4 corners.
I wish we'd had 3 games of this, Robbo. Now he's going to complain he's been nudged.
Again, sad end to it. Here we see the drop. Did he have access? Well, I mean, you can stop and ask for a let, or you can try and play them.
Well, Jonathon's highly amused by it. A big shake of the head, a dramatic smile. It's Palmer serving. And he really has to come up with the goods now. Otherwise, he's on the plane and he's out of here. Good volley. And that ball's out of court.
That was better play. Followed up the volley short. Got the second volley down the line. Squeezed the error. I think it's a bit too late for him, mind.
And Jonathon choosing to take that on the backhand. Plays a little angle. And moves that little bit closer to the title. Holds him off and does it again. And that's match ball at 14-9. David Palmer shakes his head, and I think that really sums up the match for him. It's been frustrating. And Jonathon Power looks as though he's done it again. He's broken the player down, pace has changed, and when he needed it, he's got the shots and the strokes, and there's the final one. Jonathon Power wins his first big tournament of 2001, and our illustrious audience, they've enjoyed it.
Well, despite what looks like a pained expression on the face of Jonathon Power there, I'd say he pretty much enjoyed himself too. They were one apiece after their last 2 meetings, but this time the Canadian was by far the more positive player. So, time for the better man to take the spoils. World number 1, Jonathon Power of Canada, steps up to accept the 2001 Ahram PSA Masters title.
The pace was incredibly quick. Everything was happening around the middle, and I was hitting good length, so I was getting him to move into the corners each time. He's a big boy, and he ended up about the middle of every game, I think 7-all, 8-7, 8-all, around that stage in every game. He just fell off the pace, gave me 4 or 5 quick points, gave me a cushion, and then it enabled me to sort of finish it off at the end.
That sort of finishing requires ultimate fitness, so did Power feel his 2 months of hard training in Europe was worthwhile?
Yeah, I was really happy with the way I trained and the way I got ready for this. I dropped probably 3-4 kilos and decided to really put in a bit of hard work and get everything together for this tournament, and it paid off. So, I might keep doing that. It's a little recipe for success, I think. Hard work. Who would have known?
David Palmer accepts the consolation prize. Did he ever think he'd get the big one?
I thought I played well in patches. I thought I played well for half, 3/4 of the game. I think most of the games are pretty even, 9, 10 all, but to win a match you can't play, you've got to play all the way through, and I couldn't sustain the pressure on him, and he was just too sharp and too quick tonight, and once it got close he just seemed to step up another gear, and I didn't have another one in me, so that was the difference tonight.
Not so much another gear as warp drive, some might say. Less than 20 points separating Jonathon Power from Peter Nicol at the top of the leaders table after Hurghada. But based on both players' current form, it's looking more like a gulf. John White of Scotland sitting pretty in third thanks to his Flanders win, and the two Aussies, Paul Price and David Palmer, in fourth and fifth through sheer hard work. And we've seen plenty of that here in Hurghada, mostly from those who were forced to confront the Canadian powerhouse. Jonathon Power takes victory in his 40th PSA Tour final, doing so with a full set of 3-0 match victories. A stunningly impressive record in a stunning location. Well, that's it from the banks of the Red Sea for 1 year, but we've still got some unfinished business. Our viewers' competition, of course. The first 6 correct answers out of the bag after the closing date win a pair of squash shoes. Who won the 2000 Hurghada PSA Masters? Was it A, Jonathon Power, B, Peter Nicol, or C, David Palmer? Your answers by post to High-Tech Super Series Competition, PSA 82 Cathedral Road, Cardiff, UK, or enter on the website at www.superseries.co.uk. Good luck.